Hi, Isaac. It's Grandma Suzanne here. Well, that last picture book kind of threw me. To be honest, I didn't 100% understand Rudy, so I'm going to wait till your mom explains it to me. I read it 1.5 times. But I have another book here, and I think this might be easier. It's called EyeWitness Universe. And I've got little Munchie here. I'm going to show you Munchie so that you can see that I have this beautiful companion here to Munchie. I can't even find you on the screen. How does this thing work? I'm pointing it right at her head and it's still not on. Munchie, maybe if I do it this way. Munchie, do you see Munchie now? I think I'm wasting time having you find Munchie. So let me just sit here. I can't put the computer on the table because Munchie's there. But I'm just going to read you a little bit from this book. I opened to a page on the moon. Kind of perfect. It says Earth's moon. Let's see what came right before this. It's about the sun. But I'll start up with the moon. The moon is Earth's closest companion in space and its only natural satellite. On average, it lies 239,000 miles away. It has no light of its own, but shines by reflecting sunlight. Think about that. Well, you kind of don't need to. As the moon circles the Earth, it appears to change shape from a slim crescent to a full circle and back again every 29.5 days. With a diameter of 2,160 miles. We'll do kilometers next time. The moon is a rocky world like Earth, but has no atmosphere, water, or life. I'll explain a little bit of the phases, which again you don't need, in a moment, but let's just read a few more. Ancient people thought the moon had magical powers and that the light of the full moon could make them turn mad or turn themselves into werewolves. Our word lunatic comes from luna, the Latin word for the moon. Interesting. Lunar gravity. The moon's gravity is only 1/6 of Earth's, so it cannot retain any gases to make an atmosphere. The lack of atmosphere means the temperature varies from 230 degrees Fahrenheit to negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a huge range. Weak though it is, the moon's gravity still affects the Earth. It tugs at the oceans to create tides, which is one of the most amazing things to me. I'm going to show you a picture of that in a moment, but again, let me just read it. The moon always presents the same face toward Earth. This happens because it spins once on its axis in exactly the same time as it circles once around Earth, 27.3 days. This motion is called captured rotation. The dark regions we see on the moon's face are vast dusty plains, although early astronomers thought they might be seas. So since it's spinning on its axis in exactly the same time that it circles around the Earth, we only ever see one side of it. The far side. No one had seen the moon's far side until the first blurred images of it were taken in 1959. It is more rugged than the near side and has no large seas. The Apollo astronauts took stunning photographs of the moon, including dramatic shots of the Earth rising over the moon's horizon. These showed the contrast between our colorful living world and its drab DEAD satellite. I'm not going to say that word because it seems rude. We're talking about the moon. To call it that word, it just seems wrong. So this is a picture of that, of from the moon, seeing the Earth rise. That's pretty amazing. And let me show you this now. The changing face. The changing phases of the moon happen as the sun lights up different amounts of the side that faces Earth. At new moon, we can't see it because the sun is lighting up only the far side. As the moon moves around in its orbit, more and more of its face gets lit up. So a lot of times we call the new moon that little crescent, but it's actually right before the crescent. So here are the sort of pictures of it, and you could see this is the new moon because it's not getting any light from the sun. And where did it? Well, it's getting light, but it's getting it on the far side, and we can't see that. But as it's lighting up, as the sun is lighting up more and more of the parts that we see a crescent, a first quarter, a waxing gibbous, a full moon, a waning gibbous, a last quarter, and a crescent. And I think I have my moon calendar right near here, but your mom has one, small one, and maybe one that's on the wall or can unroll it. But the last thing I want to show you in this book, I'll find another one that shows a little bit better to explain it. And I took off my glasses, so I'm gonna. Okay, so here, the Earth spins around its axis once a day. The moon's gravity pulls at oceans. Oh, that was showing that part. But I will find another place that shows you the Earth's the the Earth's movement in relation, well, the moon's orbit in relation to us, and how based on where the sun is, we see certain parts of it, and that's how we get these phases. So, how many minutes? 6:47. Let me see if there's anything else on these 2 pages on the moon. The next thing is on the planet. So I think I'll save that for another time. And instead, what could I do? What could I do? I could just talk. I could talk. I could sing a song. Better not do that. I could get up and dance. Right here. Look what book I just found. Look what book I just found. How to Be a Math Genius, which you already are. Wait a minute, I have to tilt this down. Okay. Your Brilliant Brain and How to Train It. Let's see if I can find some fun thing right away. Oh, it did that thing again. It's very demanding, this little thing. I guess this isn't a book that exactly. Archimedes! Ha ha! Archimedes. Okay. Archimedes once said, "Give me a lever or lever, depends on how you pronounce it, long enough, and I shall move the world." That is a mathematician. Why? Because he'd gotten the idea of a lever, or lever, however you say it, and what it could do. Where the math comes in is the way he abstracted out from it. And he said, I see what's going on here, and I see the principle, and he abstracted out from it. And the world is huge, which he knew. But if he had a lever big enough, it wouldn't matter. He could still move the world. That's mathematical generalization from an observation into a big abstraction. And that's a very cool thing to be able to do. That's one of the reasons I think we teach math, so that we learn how to do that. Because when you can do that, the world is awesome. When you can generalize out from love, then you have understanding about all sorts of critters and not just the ones that you know. When you can generalize out from scientific principles, you understand all sorts of things better. And I'll do more of that later, but let me just read a little bit more about Archimedes. Archimedes was probably the greatest mathematician of the ancient world. Unlike most of the others, he was a highly practical person too, using his math skills to build all kinds of contraptions, including some extraordinary war machines. What's war? That's for another time. But he had some amazing machines, and they still use some to this day, if you can believe that. When Archimedes was in Egypt, he would have studied in the library in Alexandria, the greatest library of the ancient world. On discovering how to measure volume, it said that he jumped out of his bath and ran naked down the street shouting "Eureka," which in Greek means "I have found it." And what he realized was that, well, I could explain this another time, but um, one of the stories is that he was, I'm getting mixed up. Not mixed up, but I'm getting too far afield. But anyway, he understood volume and he got very excited, and we'll go into that a little bit soon. Early life. Archimedes was born in Syracuse, Sicily, in 287 BCE, before the Common era, which also sometimes means before Christ. So that would mean if we're 2000 plus, you would add that. So it's about 2,300 years ago. As a young man, he traveled to Egypt and worked with mathematicians there. According to one story, when Archimedes returned home to Syracuse, he heard that the Egyptian mathematicians were claiming some of his discoveries as their own. To catch them, he sent them some calculations with errors in them. The Egyptians claimed these new discoveries too, but were caught when people discovered that the calculations were wrong. Pretty cool. If you wonder why I'm struggling reading this, it's because for some reason, even though they're writing about a brilliant person, they have black pages with dark purple writing. Hello, but we'll carry on. Eureka. Archimedes' most famous discovery, no, there were some others that were very famous, but we'll go with them for now, came about when the king asked him to check if his crown was pure gold. To answer this, he had to measure the crown's volume. But how? Stepping into a full bath, Archimedes realized that the water that spilled from the tub could be measured to find out the volume of his body or a crown. That doesn't really explain about the gold thing, but we'll do that another time. And that's the thing about some of these books. They give you like 3 sentences and it doesn't explain it right. Like, to say that's his most famous discovery, I guess if you throw out all the mathematical ones, hello. That's like saying Michael Jordan's most amazing feat was taking his trash out in 23 seconds. I don't think so. Carrying on. Ingenious inventions. Archimedes is credited with building the world's first planetarium, a machine that shows the motions of the sun, moon, and planets. Looking at the time. One thing he didn't invent, despite its bearing his name, is the Archimedean screw. It is more likely that he introduced this design for a water pump, having seen it in Egypt. Looks like this. They have a few more things on him on the other page, which we will read another time. And right now, I will tell you how much I love you, Mr. Sir Isaac, and how much little Munchie loves you. Where is she? Oh, there she is, there she is, there she is. I have to figure out how to aim this thing. But for now, this little Munchie right there. It's okay, you could stay asleep, don't worry. So anyway, I hope you're having a splendid afternoon. I hope you're laughing and moving your hands like you do, and your arms and your hands. I'm noticing that you're separating your fingers in ways you didn't used to do. It's very beautiful. And those legs, don't get me started on the legs. They are so unbelievably cute. And your face and those smiles. And I better not talk too long because I could go on and on and on and on. Anyway, that's that. I think I'm going to go outside now and do a bit of work outside. But we'll read more books later. I love you so much, little Isaac. Which books did we start with? Oh, yeah, we have 2 in this one. Some from the Math Genius book and some from the Universe one. Okay. Oh, and the moon? Stay here 1 second. I have a few seconds. I'm coming. Okay, here's the calendar of the moon things, and it's 2016, and it's March 22nd, so we go down. Oh my gosh, it's a full moon. I did not know this. I thought it was getting close to full last night, but I didn't know it was. I'm wrong. It's tomorrow. I was looking at February. Oops. Anyway, but that's okay. We have another day. Tomorrow is a full moon. See? Go down March, go over the 23rd, and there it is. Okie dokie. You'll be looking at it, and I'll be looking at it, and Munchie will be catching mice with it, under it. Okay, I love you so much, Isaac. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, sweetie pie. I love you so much. Hey, maybe next time I'll read you a book in French. Great idea. I love you. Bye-bye. Gotta find a little button here. Okay.